Chapter 348. Ahem, no matter what, these people did come to us. Su Yiyin flipped through the information under her hand. Just because they came, it doesn't mean that we have to accept them. Xia Junxing was slightly stunned. You mean? First, get someone to verify the character of these people. They aren't fake characters on the screen, but real characters and temperaments. In addition, investigate the reason why they left their original company. Okay. Apart from this, is there anything else we need to pay attention to? For example, ability, fame, traffic, and so on. In business, although Xia Junxing had a rough understanding of Su Yiyin's temperament during this period of time, they were still an entertainment company, so it was not good to not take these into consideration. Su Yiyin muttered, character is the most important. I don't want the company to attract troublemakers and shit-stirrers just because of fame and traffic. Just look at Huo Xiaofeng. No matter how famous and how much traffic one had, if one's character was not good, they would sooner or later fail. When that time came, don't expect them to make a profit. It would be good enough if they didn't clean up their mess. Of course, I'm not saying that these are not important. Under the premise that their character is good, we can give priority to artists who are capable, hardworking, and motivated. Of course, if these artists have their own topics and traffic, that would be even better. After Su Yiyin mentioned it, the so-called fame and traffic became the focus of attention. Xia Junxing felt that it was unexpected but reasonable. He frowned and said nothing in the end. Xuanhuan had said before that this company was a gift to his sister. If it made a profit, it would be his sister's, and if it made a loss, it would be his. In addition, the company's rules can be changed appropriately. Those who are capable and down-to-earth, and talented in all aspects can be nurtured. Those who are not talented but down-to-earth can work behind the scenes. Although it is a little old-fashioned to teach according to the individual's ability, it is not without reason. In my company, opportunities can be given to anyone. It just depends on whether you can grasp them. Xia Junxing's face darkened. He knew that Su Yiyin was talking about the company's internal strife and unspoken rules. Speaking of this, that Ren, hearing Su Yiyin ask about this person, Xia Junxing's eyes quickly turned cold. Ren Miaoqiong. Oh right, how's the matter with Ren Miaoqiong coming along? She's been shelved. Her manager has also left. The other thing is that director. You don't want to scram? Su Yiyin narrowed her eyes, and the aura around her was 50 to 60% similar to Huo Xuanhuan's when she was angry. That day, Huo Xiaofeng and Wen Jingping openly came to Eastern City to block her. The more Su Yiyin thought about it, the more she felt that something was wrong. Although this incident was part of the original plot in the original novel and had happened in her previous life, the original novel only briefly mentioned the origin of this incident. It said that the two of them had accidentally heard from others that one of the investors of the variety show, Dong Qing, was her private company. Who was this person? When this incident happened, she had just taken over Dong Qing. It was not strange for Huo Xiaofeng and Wen Jingping to hear that Dong Qing was her family's business. Perhaps it was because this person knew that the nominal boss of Dong Qing had changed hands and revealed it. Su Yiyin felt that this informant was very likely to be an internal staff of her company. For this reason, Su Yiyin asked Xia Junxing to secretly investigate this matter. In the end, they really found out the problem. Chapter 349. The person who had deliberately leaked the matter was a female artist who had just been signed by Dongqing City. This female artist wasn't stupid. In order to prevent others from investigating her, she deliberately leaked the matter to a big mouth in the production team, who then spread the news indiscriminately. Where there were people, there would be gossip. It was very easy to form gossip, but it wasn't easy to investigate. Thanks to this big mouth, the news of Dongqing City's change of ownership of Su Yiyin only reached Wen Jingping's ears after 5 or 6 rounds. It took Xia Junxing some effort to investigate. Fortunately, if he didn't want others to know, he shouldn't have done it in the first place. After a few twists and turns, he finally found the source. When Su Yiyin saw this female artist, she was a little surprised. Didn't the company only send 4 female artists to this show? Where did this woman come from? At that time, Xia Junxing glanced at her with a subtle expression and said awkwardly, this female artist was groomed by Xiao Dong. Xiao Dong is the nephew of our company's chairman Xiao. Su Yiyin instantly understood. She got in through connections? Yes. How are her results? She was eliminated from the top 10. Her ability isn't particularly good, but her looks. Su Yiyin instantly understood again. Canary might not be good in other aspects, but her looks had to pass. Does Chairman Xiao have a lot of power in the company? Has he done this before? He does have a certain amount of authority. His nephew likes to use his connections to intimidate others. Previously, he often snatched artists under other managers in the company. I warned him several times, but he refused to change. After all, he was only helping Xuanhuan manage the company. Logically speaking, Chairman Xiao had more power than him. As long as the two of them didn't go overboard, Xia Junxing couldn't clash with them head-on. However, he didn't expect that these two idiots would really treat Dongqing City as their own after acting like tyrants in the company all these years. They even dared to touch the new big boss. But reality proved that they were that bold. If they let Wen Jingping and Hua Xiaofeng cause a ruckus and succeed, Su Yiyin would lose face and prestige in the company. It would be easier for the old directors to manipulate her. A few girls who had just started their careers would also be accused of going in through the back door and suffer a certain amount of pressure from public opinion. Their reputation and image would also be negatively affected. At that time, it would be much easier for Ren Miaoqiong, who had roughly the same star path as them, to snatch resources from them. Su Yiyin hated little B*cheese who schemed behind their backs the most. He immediately got someone to freeze this woman and fire Xiao Dong. Su Yiyin was a newly appointed official, and this action was undoubtedly a show of strength to the company's directors. Chairman Xiao had yet to see the situation clearly. As soon as his nephew was fired, he made a scene in front of Xia Junxing and even wanted to make a scene in front of Su Yiyin. He really didn't want to leave and even made a scene in the company. It wasn't until I handed those things over to him that his expression changed and he left angrily. This uncle and nephew weren't good people to begin with. Over the years, they had relied on their seniority in the company and their background to do many dirty things. Just because they didn't investigate before didn't mean that they didn't know about it. Now that they did, they found out that they had fired many people. He's angry? He's done so many bad things, but I'm not angry yet. Why is he angry? Su Yiyin sneered. Get someone to keep an eye on him. If he dares to play any tricks, send him and his nephew to jail. Take it as getting rid of evil for the people. Chapter 350. Xia Junxing agreed verbally, but he secretly sighed in his heart. I'm afraid I won't have this opportunity. He had already sent an identical copy of the information he had found to Su Yiyin before sending it to Su Yuxuan. Su Yiyin was kind and did not kill him. However, Su Yuxuan's sister Khan, who treated his sister as his life, would not let him off easily. It would be difficult for him to play any tricks again. By the way, pay attention to this artist. Xia Junxing pulled out a personal resume from the top of the stack of information. Luo? Weibing? Su Yiyin frowned and pondered. He inexplicably felt that the name was a bit familiar. Yes, the youngest double gold award winner so far, Luo Weibing. Double gold award winner? Su Yiyin was surprised. He also jumped into our company? Because of me? To be precise, Ning Qiruwei led him here. Su Yiyin's eyes narrowed slightly. What does this have to do with Ning Qiruwei? Yi Qiliang was one thing, but now he had attracted a double gold award winner. Did that guy have a physique that attracted bees and butterflies? Ning Qiruwei, who was not used to staying in the hospital, was taken home early after he was exposed to good food and drink. His complexion did not change at all and he even gained some weight. Ahem, didn't you ask him to post a recent situation that day to show that he was not frozen, but was being treated? After that, he discussed with the company's publicity department and released a statement while you were being pushed to the hot topic list by Zheng Qiuying's fans because of that video. In this statement, Ning Qiruwei confessed that he was seriously ill and needed treatment for a period of time before he could return to the entertainment industry. He also emphasized the company's warm company. After knowing that he was ill, not only did they not give up on him, but they were also very enthusiastic to help him find the best doctor to treat him. Now that his condition had stabilized and was slowly improving, he would be able to meet his fans again in a few months, so they did not have to worry too much. In order to increase the authenticity of his statement, Ning Qiruwei also uploaded a few selfies and medical records so that his fans could see that his health was improving. As soon as this statement came out, Ning Qiruwei's fans, who were originally full of hostility, were dumbfounded. On one hand, they felt sorry for their idol's illness, and on the other, they felt ashamed for their previous indiscriminate cursing of the agency. After the company reposted his statement, it attracted a lot of fans. Did you bring Luo Weibing along? Yes. Luo Weibing signed a 6-year contract with his original agency, which will expire at the end of next month. With his current fame and status, the company is naturally unwilling to let him go. It is said that half a year ago they have been talking to him about renewing the contract, but he has not relented. Why is that? Does that agency not treat him well? It's neither good nor bad. The main reason why he didn't continue is probably because of his younger sister. Younger sister? Yes, Luo Weibing has a younger sister. She is 12 years old this year. It is said that she has some heart problems and has not been in good health. Since last year, Luo Weibing consciously reduced his workload to accompany his sick sister. His agency was a little dissatisfied and because of this they left him. They have not been able to renew the contract with Luo Weibing. Luo Weibing, double gold award-winning actor, younger sister, heart disease. She was wondering why this name was so familiar. Wasn't this guy the sucker that Wen Jingping hooked up with shortly after entering the entertainment industry? Chapter 351. Luo Weibing was a sucker. To be precise, in the original work, except for Hua Xiaofeng who won the beauty, these spare men were basically suckers. Including Ning Chirue who had gone astray and escaped from the sea of bitterness. Poor lost little cutie Ning, achoo! Who is talking about me again? But Luo Weibing was more tragic than other supporting men. He was born in an ordinary working family. His father went out to work and unfortunately died. His mother was too sad and died after falling ill, leaving him and his only sister to depend on each other. At that time he was still underage and his sister was young. The person in charge of this area wanted to find a temporary guardian for these two poor children. But the relatives who had a good relationship with their family in the past all changed their faces when they saw that his parents were gone. They treated the two of them as burdens and kicked them around. Luo Weibing protected his sister and tasted the fickleness of human nature at a young age. In order to support his sister, he dropped out of school to work after graduating from junior high school. Later, he met a talent scout in a bar and was brought into the entertainment circle. He had no background and was not even from a professional school. With his tenacity he became the best actor in a few years. Moreover, he became the best actor with double gold awards. The effort he put in could be seen. However, just as the two siblings' days were getting better and they were looking forward to the future, Luo Weibing's sister was suddenly found to have a heart attack. Even if a lot of money was spent on treatment, the condition was still deteriorating. In the original work, Wen Jingping met Luo Weibing's sister when she went to the hospital with Hua Xiaofeng and accidentally ate shrimp allergies. Wen Jingping immediately saw that the watch on Luo Weibing's sister's hand was expensive. She thought that this child was from a rich family, so she wanted to make friends with her. Luo Weibing's sister was only 11 or 12 years old at that time. She had been protected by Luo Weibing and was very simple. Wen Jingping quickly gained her trust and relied on her to make friends with Luo Weibing. Luo Weibing saw that his sister liked this young lady so much. He took Wen Jingping to several crews and successfully made Wen Jingping popular. It could be said that Wen Jingping could quickly gain a foothold in the entertainment circle because of Luo Weibing. It was a pity that Luo Weibing didn't expect that his kindness would become a death sentence for him and his sister. After Wen Jingping quickly became popular, because she was brought out by Luo Weibing, the agency company to which Wen Jingping belonged asked Wen Jingping to take Luo Weibing to hype up the couple to help her become popular. Naturally, this matter could not be hidden from Hua Xiaofeng. His girlfriend was flirting with another man on the screen. How could a straight man like him bear to be cuckolded? In the original novel, Hua Xiaofeng had never experienced the embarrassing situation of being chased out of the Hua Corporation. It was difficult for him to be the legitimate heir of the Hua family, but how difficult could it be to destroy someone? Because of jealousy, Hua Xiaofeng found Luo Weibing's relatives and bribed several actresses who had worked with Luo Weibing. He asked them to fabricate lies and run to the media to cry and make trouble. In just a few days, Luo Weibing was caught in a series of scandals such as ungrateful, breaking the contract and sleeping with actresses in the same crew. From a double gold movie king with good reputation, he became a rat crossing the street. However, Wen Jingping only called him and comforted him softly on the phone. She refused to say anything in public, and even her eyes turned red when the media asked about Luo Weibing. Chapter 352. The explanation given in the original novel was that she didn't know how to help Luo Weibing and was so anxious that her eyes turned red. The media mistakenly thought that she had been harassed by Luo Weibing like those actresses, so her eyes turned red as soon as she heard his name. Her fans also followed up with a bunch of photos and videos of her and Luo Weibing appearing in public and edited them to prove that she was a forced victim. When this report came out, not only was Wen Jingping not affected by Luo Weibing's negative news, but she also earned a wave of sympathy from passers-by. Were the facts really as written in the original novel? All of this was Wen Jingping's good intentions and bad things? Did she have no idea what Hua Xiaofeng did? Not necessarily. It was human nature not to publicly support Luo weeping on the internet, but if the media deliberately distorted the facts and treated her as a victim. Wen Jingping couldn't restrain the attention of the media, but she could at least restrain her own fans, right? The fans were so organized to declare that she was a victim, so there must be a lot of people behind the scenes. Poor Luo weeping was used and sucked dry. He was stepped on and became a stepping stone for others. Even his sister was suddenly unemployed because of him and even violated many advertising contracts. He owed a lot of money, so she couldn't continue her treatment and died not long after. Just because of a moment of kindness, his career was ruined, his reputation was ruined, and his only sister was dead. If he wasn't a fool, what was he? Yayan? Xia Juanxing's low voice successfully pulled Su Yiyan's attention back. He chose our company, is it related to his sister? I heard from Ning Chirui's agent that Luo Weibing contacted him after seeing Ning Chirui's physical test reports. He said that he wanted to visit Ning Chirui in person. After Ning Chirui knew about it, he agreed to visit him. After seeing Ning Chirui with his own eyes and confirming that what he posted online was true, he asked him to introduce him to his attending doctor. Attending doctor? Su Yiyan laughed. When did she become Ning Chirui's attending doctor? During this period, although she went to poke him once every few days, the Ning family specially hired another family doctor to help with the follow-up care and recovery work. The fact that Ning Chirui could eat as much as he did now was not all thanks to her alone. Luo Weibing seems to have shown Ning Chirui's medical records to other doctors. They all said that it was a miracle that he could recover so quickly. So he thinks that the person who can cure Ning Chirui must have some skills. Yeah. What did Ning Chirui say to him? He said. Xia Junxing rubbed his nose and found it a little funny. He said that this is a special benefit for employees of the company and that he can't reveal it to outsiders. Su Yiyan was silent for a while before she asked faintly, "Don't you think that the employees nowadays are very greedy?" Xia Junxing looked at her blankly. He didn't quite understand what she meant. As a boss, not only do I have to care about their future career, but I also have to be responsible for their health. Do you think it's easy for me? Xia Junxing, cough. Xia Junxing suppressed the unconsciously raised corners of his mouth and asked in a low voice, "Then Luo Weibing, let's arrange a time for a meeting. If he's really a talent, it's okay to take him in." She always had some subtle sympathy for those who were miserably harmed by Wen Jingping, especially the innocent child, who was still so young. Chapter 353. Yi Qiuyang quickly sent a message back. For the time being, Su Yiyan would be teaching them on Saturday mornings and Sunday afternoons. Now that the schedule was settled, the only problem left was the remuneration. Even if the teachers were interns, they would still receive a salary or even a subsidy. For someone like Su Yiyan who was specially invited, she could not be treated as a temporary teacher. Yi Qiuyang even felt that even if he paid Su Yiyan based on his standards, it would not be worth 1/1,000,000th of the knowledge she would teach the students. Su Yiyan seemed to see his dilemma, so she took the initiative to say, "In terms of remuneration, you can just compare it to the substitute teachers in your school." How can that be? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not a serious teacher and I don't plan to be a teacher for a long time. When Yi Qiuyang asked her if teachers like him could also sit in on the class, Su Yiyan thought about it. After all, she was not a serious teacher. She definitely did not have the experience of teaching and educating people. After she taught this group of people, they would be able to personally teach the basic knowledge to others. Moreover, you've already helped me a lot by helping me get that special medical license. Su Yiyan's medical practice was different from other medical systems. She could not get a normal medical license. It was Yi Qiuyang who used his connections to help her get a special medical license. Yi Qiuyang still felt a little guilty when he heard her say that. Su Yiyan also noticed this and smiled faintly. You don't have to feel burdened. I agreed to teach these things because if these things are really in my hands and I can't teach them to others, they will be lost again in 100 years just like many things before. It's a good thing that people are willing to learn, but what they learn in the end depends on them. Of course. By the way, I have to accompany my husband home this week. This class will start next week. It just so happens that you have time to make arrangements for the students. Okay. Su Yiyan had said in advance that she would be bringing xuanhuan home, so the whole family woke up early in the morning to wait. Cheng Xiuqin had been pacing around the kitchen door since early in the morning. Together with Qin Shueru, he watched Aunt Li cook Su Yiyan's favorite dishes. Mr. Su looked at his wife who was standing at the entrance of the kitchen and frowned. So what if she's back? Isn't it natural for her to go back to her own home? With such a big fuss, the people outside might think that she won't come back after getting married. Xuanhuan also chimed in sourly, "That's right. You should have just said it. Why are you still blocking the door? You can't even help. Aren't you just adding to the trouble?" As soon as he finished speaking, Xianxia looked over and snorted coldly, "Don't think that I didn't hear you. Who was the one who said that I was so excited that I couldn't sleep in the middle of the night and almost fell down the stairs when I woke up to go to the bathroom?" Cough, cough, cough. Xuanhuan coughed guiltily and turned his face away. Mr. Su instantly looked at him with disdain. This kid was still too inexperienced. How could he drop the ball at such a crucial time? Xianxia sneered when he saw this. "What are you looking at? You're the same. You're holding the newspaper upside down. Do you think that I'm short-sighted and can't tell?" Mr. Su, who had been silently looking down. Chapter 354. The Su family was busy preparing for the arrival of Su Yiyan and the new son-in-law. Xuanhuan, on the other hand, was inexplicably nervous after getting out of the car. "What's wrong?" Su Yiyan held Xuanhuan's hand. Feeling the sweat on her palm, he couldn't help but be surprised. "Nervous?" "Yes. It's not the first time you've seen them. Why are you still so nervous? I didn't see you this nervous when we came here before." "It's different." Su Yiyan raised his eyebrows. "How is it different? Previously he was just my fiancé. Now, he's my husband." With a different identity, her state of mind was naturally different when facing these people. "Then you don't have to be nervous. We're a real family now. They won't make things difficult for you." Su Yiyan could actually understand Xuanhuan's feelings. Before they got married, her family wasn't technically his family. Now that they were married, her family was Xuanhuan's family. After her parents passed away, Xuanhuan actually didn't have a real family anymore. To have a family again, and a family of elders at that, Xuanhuan needed a buffer. "With me and Dun Dun here, we'll protect you." As Su Yiyan spoke, he picked up Dun Dun, who had just gotten out of the car and was about to rush home, and stuffed it into Xuanhuan's arms. Dun Dun, who was caught off guard by the back of its neck, was confused. "What are you doing? You can talk about things, but you can't throw me around like an object. I have a temper too." Su Yiyan's comforting seemed to have some effect. Xuanhuan seemed to have calmed down a lot. Of course, it was only on the surface. The two people and the dog had just walked into the courtyard. Xiaoqing's people, who saw them from afar, all fell silent. The atmosphere in the room suddenly became subtle. Even Dun Dun, who was in Xuanhuan's arms, subconsciously widened his eyes filled with confusion. In the end, Su Yiyan was the first to break the silence. She said helplessly, "Dad, Mom, why are you standing there like idiots? I've only been away for a few days and you can't recognize me?" Only then did they wake up from their dream. Xiaoqing snorted coldly. "I think you're the one who forgot about us. You've been married for so long, but you don't even know to call home and go home to take a look. You really forget your mother when you have a husband." Mr. Su hurriedly chimed in, "She also forgot about Dad." Su Yiyan, Xiaoqing. Su Yiyan was stunned for a moment. She took the initiative to step forward and intimately held Xiaoqing's hand. She couldn't help but laugh. "I've been too busy recently, haven't I?" "Busy? What busy? You?" Xiaoqing suddenly remembered that Su Yiyan still had a company and a restaurant. He suddenly felt a little distressed. "If I had known that you wanted to open a restaurant, I wouldn't have given you that entertainment company. How can you not be busy now that you've been running back and forth between the two places? Look, you've lost so much weight in just a few days." Before Su Yiyan could say anything, Xuanhuan followed up and said, "It's my fault. I didn't take good care of her." Xuanhuan's straightforward apology made Xiaoqing choke. Su Yiyan was worried that the atmosphere would become cold again. She hurriedly said, "Actually, it's not that bad. I was busy before because the restaurant had just opened, and everything wasn't on the right track. I also just took over the company, so it was inevitable that there were more things to do. Now that most of these problems have been solved, and the new restaurant is gradually getting on the right track, I don't need to be there to help anymore. It saved me a lot of trouble and I'm not as busy as before." Chapter 355. It's good that you know what you're doing. Dad and Mom don't expect you to have a big career or earn a lot of money. We just want you to be safe and happy. Don't tire yourself out. Our two families can't afford to raise you alone, right? Xiaoqing originally wanted to say, "our family," But when he thought about how Su Yiyan was already married and could be considered part of the family Hua, he changed it to 2 families. I know. Su Yiyan immediately noticed the pause and complained with a smile. He said it and you said it too. I've been hearing these words for the past few days. When he heard Su Yiyan say that xuanhuan also cared about her health and didn't want her to be too tired, Qing Xiuqin's expression became much better. He snorted coldly and said, "You're not happy that we care about you? We've spoiled you too much." All right. Yan specially brought Xuanhuan over for dinner. We'll talk about these things later. Let's eat first. Qin Shueru saw that they were almost done talking, so she quickly went up to smooth things over. When Su Yiyan heard her speak, she quickly went over and said with a smile, "Auntie, how have you been feeling recently? Have you eaten the medicinal cuisine I asked the medicinal cuisine restaurant to send you on time?" The baby in Qin Shueru's stomach was already more than 3 months old. Her stomach wasn't very obvious yet, but there were obvious symptoms of morning sickness. Qin Shueru held Su Yiyan's hand and smiled slightly. Yes. A few days ago my stomach was very nauseous. Thanks to the medicinal cuisine your restaurant sent over, I was able to eat some of it. I'm much better now. Qin Shueru pulled Su Yiyan to sit at the dining table. Father Su and the others also sat down. Qing Xiuqin took the opportunity to run into the small kitchen and urged them to serve the dishes that were prepared first. Xuanhuan looked at Su Yiyan's harmonious appearance with her family and smiled slightly. She also turned her wheelchair and sat beside her. Although Su Yiyan wasn't at home during this period, she sent them a lot of rare ingredients one after another. Aunt Li learned from Su Yiyan for a while in the early days. Later she found Su Yiyan's live broadcast room to practice a few times. Although the dishes weren't as good as Su Yiyan's, they were much better than before. As a result, the Su and the others would come home on time to eat unless they really had something urgent and had to work. Considering that there were more people at home today, Aunt Li not only made a lot of dishes, but also a lot of different flavors. However, most of them were pickled vegetables and spicy dishes. Su Yiyan was sitting next to Qin Shueru. She could not help but laugh when she saw Qin Shueru's chopsticks reaching for the sour dishes. People say that sour children are born while spicy daughters are born. Auntie's baby is most likely going to be a chubby boy. Qing Xiuqin heard her and laughed. I think so too. Xiaoru likes to eat sour food recently. It must be a fat boy. Qin Shueru blushed slightly and smiled. She didn't say anything. Did Auntie and Uncle discuss whether you like a boy or a girl? Qin Shueru was a little embarrassed. She smiled and said, Your uncle said that a boy or a girl is good. What about you? Do you like a boy or a girl? Qin Shueru was silent for a moment and said softly, I also think that a boy or a girl isn't important. It's good either way. For her, who might not have a child of her own in this lifetime, having this child was already a great blessing. Why would she care about the boy or girl? Thinking of this, Qin Shueru turned to look at Su Yiyan and smiled faintly. But if I really have to choose one, I might want a daughter as obedient and sensible as Yan. Chapter 356. When Qin Shueru said this, everyone present was stunned. Unexpectedly, the first to break the silence was Su Xuanhuan's father. He raised his head and looked at his son, then looked at his precious daughter. He nodded solemnly and said, Yes, girls are good. Xuanhuan, who was shot even though he was lying down. Wait, if you want to talk about your daughter, then talk about your daughter. Why are you looking at me? Don't think I didn't see the disdain in your eyes. When Qing Xiuqin heard Xuanhuan's father's words, he also nodded and said, Girls are better. You can give her pretty dresses, braid her hair and take her shopping. Qing Xiuqin sighed and changed his tone. Yan has always been a considerate little girl. She's obedient and sensible. Her father and I never worry about her. She's not like a certain bastard. He was born like a frisky monkey, crying all day long. He was only 5 or 6 years old, but he was already jumping up and down, causing trouble for me everywhere. His father and I were so angry that we wanted to kick him out of the house a few times. I'd rather have a wooden club than him. The drumstick that Xuanhuan picked up with great difficulty fell into his bowl with a plop sound. He looked like he had nothing to live for. As expected, he was adopted. Although he was a little annoying when he was young, wasn't that because he was young and immature? Who didn't have a Chinibu period? It was too much to bring up old scores. Su Yiyan was amused by her brother's hopeless expression. Suddenly her hand was held. She was stunned. She turned her head and met Xuanhuan's smiling eyes. Su Yiyan's lips curled up. She couldn't be bothered to laugh at her brother anymore. She picked up the serving chopsticks and put some food in Xuanhuan's bowl. Aunt Li's cooking is pretty good. She made a lot of your favorite spicy dishes today. More. Okay. Su Yiyan's words seemed to have accidentally poked Su Yuxuan and the others' sore spot. Their expressions instantly changed and they said awkwardly, "It's not specially made for you. We like it too." His words sounded like he was trying to hide 300 tales. Xuanhuan originally thought that Su Yiyan's words were just to comfort her. Now that she heard Su Yuxuan's words, she was a little uncertain. Could it be that these dishes were specially made for him? The atmosphere at the table suddenly became subtle. Qing Xiuqin was not as awkward as the father and son. He coughed lightly and took the initiative to pick up a crayfish for Xuanhuan. "Now that you're married to Yan, our home is your home. Don't be too restrained and eat more." Xuanhuan looked at the prawns in her bowl and suddenly understood the meaning of Su Yiyan's words before entering the house. In fact, he was not the only one. Qing Xiuqin and the others were also trying their best to adapt to the addition of another family member. They might be arrogant and clumsy, but they were really trying to accept him and care for him in their unique way. With this thought, Xuanhuan picked up the crayfish with her chopsticks. Her eyes were filled with gentleness and warmth. "Father Su, humph. My wife is putting food in my son-in-law's bowl, but she's not putting food in my bowl. Su Yuxuan, humph. Even the latecomer has people putting food in his bowl, but no one cares about me. Who is her biological son?" Su Yiyan saw the dissatisfaction in the two's eyes. Her eyebrows slightly curved, and she hurriedly put some food in each of their bowls. "Dad, brother, you guys should eat more too." The father and son were stunned. They looked at the food in their bowls and instantly beamed with joy. They happily ate the food. How could they still remember their dissatisfaction from being ignored? Chapter 357. Qing Xiuqin looked at the father and son who were bought over by a few chopsticks of food. He was angry and amused at the same time. He cursed in his heart, "Useless." During the meal, other than the occasional fight for favor, there was no other trouble. Moreover, because Xuanhuan deliberately avoided her, she became the most favored person at the dinner table. As a result, the other two men who were frequently ignored were full of resentment. However, it was also because of this that the subtle estrangement between them and Xuanhuan dissipated a lot. Xuanhuan quite liked the atmosphere in the Su family. There was a sense of liveliness amidst the noise, unlike the family Hua, which was lifeless. Even eating a meal felt like torture. After lunch, the elders impatiently pulled the two of them aside and questioned them in detail about their married life. Xuanhuan cooperated and said whatever was on her mind. Su Yiyan was a little embarrassed. She gulped down water and did not say anything. She only nodded and shook her head when asked. After enduring the elders' bombardment with great difficulty, Su Yiyan hurriedly took Xuanhuan and wanted to escape. However, she was stopped by Qin Shueru. "Yan, the baby is already more than 3 months old. You want to go back?" Qin Shueru nodded. Cheng Juanhao and Old Master Cheng had asked her to stay when they went back. On one hand, they were worried that it was not safe for her to run around when she was just pregnant. On the other hand, there were some things in the Cheng family that had not been resolved. It was not peaceful. She was afraid that she would not be able to take care of the baby if she went back. On the other hand, they hoped that she would stay. Su Yiyan could help her recuperate more so that she would suffer less when she gave birth to the baby. Now that the Cheng family had basically stabilized, her baby was already more than 3 months old. The checkup showed that everything was fine. Although everyone in the Su family treated her well, it was not her own family. Moreover, the person she missed the most was not here. Qin Shueru could not help but feel a little. Su Yiyan naturally understood this. Other than wanting to see her family, she also wanted to see how Qin Shueru was doing. Since there were no problems, she could indeed go back. After all, they were not what she needed the most at this time. "Okay. I've seen the test report. The baby is fine. There's nothing wrong with your body. If you want to go back, tell Uncle first and let him arrange for someone to pick you up." Qin Shueru heaved a sigh of relief. At this moment, she had a kind of blind trust in Su Yiyan. Even if she had gone through a checkup, she still wanted to get Su Yiyan's approval before she could be completely at ease. "Rest well. In a few months we'll visit you together." By then, Xuanhuan would probably be able to stand up. "Yes." After the two of them bade farewell to Qin Shueru, they prepared to go home. Just as they got into the car, Su Yiyan hurriedly said, "My mom and the others aren't usually so long-winded. It's just that they haven't seen me for a while, so they were worried and asked a few more questions. Thank you for your hard work today." Xuanhuan shook her head and held Su Yiyen's hand. They're fine. Even if Su Yiyen was married, in their eyes she was still their most beloved sister, daughter. They cared about her warmly. Perhaps it was because of such a family atmosphere that they could raise such a good person like Su Yiyen. And now she was his. Su Yiyen was about to say something when her phone suddenly rang. She looked down and was shocked by the text message. Why is there so much money in my account all of a sudden? Su Yiyen repeatedly confirmed the string of zeros on the text message. Just as she was about to call to ask, she was stopped by the person beside her. Yes. Xuanhuan looked straight into her eyes with a smile in his eyes. I'm handing in my salary. Chapter 358. What? Su Yiyen's eyes widened. She didn't know how to react. Some of the companies that were transferred to you before were profitable and had dividends. Now that Xuanhuan mentioned it, Su Yiyen remembered that Xuanhuan had transferred many companies to her when they got married. Su Yiyen didn't pay much attention to it at the time, but she didn't expect. But this is too much, isn't it? Although the Su family wasn't as big as the family Hua, they were still considered a wealthy family. Although her brother and father were in charge of her family's companies, they had never given her less dividends. Su Yiyen thought that her family had given her enough dividends, but now that she saw the amount that Xuanhuan handed in, she realized that it paled in comparison. What do those companies of yours do? How did you? Su Yiyen lowered her head and looked at the long string of zeros. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that this amount was enough to buy a company or a shopping mall. Didn't you notice it before? Su Yiyen's mouth twitched. She thought to herself, at that time I didn't think that what's yours is mine and what's mine is yours. There's no difference, so there's no need to make such a clear distinction. She didn't pay much attention to it, but who would have thought? Most of the companies on the market are managed by Xiaoyang and the others, but they're in charge of different things. Xian is in charge of the development of virtual simulators. Virtual simulators? Why did this term sound so familiar? Let me give you a simple example. The smell and taste simulators used by online streamers were developed by their company. Su Yiyen was shocked when she heard that. Those things were developed by your company. It's your company now, Xuanhuan corrected her and continued. In addition, there are other similar simulators. These simulators have been used on various websites, and each website has to pay you a patent fee every month. Su Yiyen's face stiffened. So this is the patent fee? The patent fee and a portion of the revenue. Xuanhuan thought for a moment and added, there should be more next month. More? Su Yiyen almost choked on his own breath. This was already more than enough. How much more could he get next month? Is there a special project next month? You just said that Xian is in charge of the virtual simulator development. Then Xiaoyang and Yanbai. Xiaoyang is responsible for the development of holographic games. A holographic game? Su Yiyen narrowed her eyes. Is it the holographic game that I'm thinking of? Although she was not a fan of games, she had seen some sci-fi games and sci-fi movies. Naturally, she knew the difference between this so-called holographic game and ordinary games. That should be right. Then you just said that there will be more next month. Could it be? Xuanhuan didn't hide anything. The technology for the holographic game has matured. After internal testing this month, it will be officially released at the beginning of next month. First, there were all kinds of virtual simulators, and then there were holographic games. What kind of godly husband did she marry? As if this wasn't exciting enough, Xuanhuan's eyelashes trembled slightly. He whispered, this holographic game will be named after both of our names. The company is now under your name, and all future revenue will be handed over to you. Su Yiyen was a little dizzy from this huge pie. Exciting. Chapter 359. What are our names? Su Yiyen finally woke up from the trance of getting rich overnight and asked, who came up with it? Xuanhuan's expression was a little subtle. He turned his face and said, Xiaoyang's suggestion. Su Yiyen glanced at him suspiciously. She felt that this matter was not so simple. Moreover, even if it was really Gu Xiaoyang's suggestion, how could the final name of the game be decided so hastily without the approval of the boss? Thinking of this, Su Yiyen couldn't help but have a little more sweetness and banter in her eyes. Xuanhuan's ears were burning red. Are you interested in this game? Su Yiyen nodded. Quite interested. When the game is tested, I'll ask them to send 2 over for you to play. Do you want to play with me? Xuanhuan was silent. Su Yiyen rolled her eyes and smiled slightly. If you play with me I'll play. Otherwise it's boring to play alone. Xuanhuan stared at Su Yiyan for a while and compromised. Okay. Su Yiyan smiled like a flower. Then she seemed to think of something and asked curiously, you just said that the three of them are responsible for different projects. Xiaoyang and Xian have already said that. What about Yanbai? What is he responsible for? He's responsible for robots. Su Yiyan's eyes lit up. Robots? Are they those intelligent robots? What are their main functions? Can they play with children and do housework? Yes, bionic robots. They can basically do everything that humans can do. Some things that humans can't do they can also do. Yanbai's main direction of development is protective robots. Protective robots? Yes, robots that can protect their owners. Su Yiyan was stunned. She subconsciously glanced at Xuanhuan. This robot that could protect its owner, could the original intention of the design be related to him? Xuanhuan didn't notice her strangeness and explained, this function is still under development. It's not mature yet. Yanbai has a few of the robots with basic functions you just mentioned. If you're interested you can ask him to send one over to play. Su Yiyan's eyes lit up slightly but she was somewhat worried. That's not good, is it? Although it was a semi-finished robot, it was a trade secret. Was it really okay to take it home to play? As if seeing Su Yiyan's in her mind, Xuanhuan touched her head and comforted her. It's okay. This kind of technology is very basic. Yanbai in the habit of locking the core technology during their research. If someone outside of the research labs people trying to decipher or dismantle it violently, the internal chip self-destructing it. Su Yiyan was a little surprised and curious. She looked at Xuanhuan like a puppy asking its owner for a bone. Xuanhuan couldn't resist her attack and said helplessly, I'll ask him to send the robot over tomorrow. Su Yiyan cheered. She felt that she was really the happiest person in the world. Not only was her husband rich but he was also capable. Not only could he afford to raise her but he could also let her try out all kinds of novel toys. These were all rare things that couldn't be bought with money. Most importantly, as a big boss with high-tech technology in his hands, her husband was completely different from those programmers. He wasn't bald. The programmers who were bald for their careers. Chapter 360. Su Yiyan was excited all the way, but she only calmed down a little when she returned to the old house. She glanced at Xuanhuan's thick hair and felt that she needed to take precautions. Xuanhuan? Therefore, the bald fans in the live broadcast room who had been observing for a long time finally saw the light. I went out with my husband today so I came back a little late. Without further ado, let's talk about the medicinal cuisine we're going to make tonight. The medicinal cuisine we're going to make today is mainly for hair growth and hair loss prevention. We did this once before during the live broadcast. However, we only made one dish, showu liver slice. Many comments in the live broadcast room said that although it was effective, it was inevitably a little monotonous after eating too much. Moreover, different conditions lead to hair loss, so eating only showu liver slice is not necessarily the right way to treat the hair loss. Su Yiyan paused and coughed lightly. It just so happens that my husband has been staying up late recently to earn money to support the family. I'm also a little worried about his hairline. Therefore, today we're going to make a special live broadcast of hair growth and hair loss prevention. It's convenient for me, and it's also satisfying the wishes of the bald fans who stay up late. It's killing two birds with one stone. Xuanhuan, who had just entered the live broadcast room when she found that her hairline had been mentioned, nearly 1/3 of the bald fans in the live broadcast room, rows of ellipses quickly brushed across the screen, showing how speechless everyone was. A few seconds later, someone finally broke the awkward silence and started to cry and wail. Oh my God, when I heard that the host was going to start broadcasting, I rushed over as fast as I could, afraid that I would miss the beginning. Who would have thought that I would be forced to eat dog food in front of me? The host successfully suppressed my emotions. I seriously suspect that the last reason is the main point, and us poor single farmers are just incidental. Okay, if it's not incidental, then is it specially made for you? Wake up, the host's exceptions are only made for her husband. Damn it, I also want a virtuous wife. Single dogs are crying tears of jealousy. Seeing that the host is going to broadcast hair growth and hair loss prevention medicinal cuisine, the bald fans burst into tears on the spot, thinking that spring has arrived for the bald fans. But when I read the second half of the sentence I forced my tears back. Alright, after all this time, it's not the balding gang's spring but the streamer's spring. Is the host's husband also a programmer? I can't afford to offend the baldies who work late into the night every day, sob sob sob. The host's husband is working hard to earn money to support the family. The host is working hard to live stream to support her husband. I'm jealous. It's another day of crying for someone else's love. Su Yiyin did not pay attention to the wailing of the actors. First, he took out medicinal herbs such as Gastrodia alata, Poria cocos, and xuanhuan and soaked them in water. Then he cracked the bones of the lamb, dipped the mutton in water and fished it out for later use. There are two types of hair loss. One is that the hair is dry and falls off in patches. The other is that the hair is oily and the hair follicles fall off. In addition, there are also some early white hair phenomena, which is commonly known as young white hair. In fact, it is also related to the lack of nutrition in the hair. The first medicinal cuisine we're going to make today is black chicken soup with Chinese yam and cooked ground. It mainly uses Chinese yam, cooked ground, plantain seed, poria, and other medicinal herbs as well as black chicken legs. This soup has the effect of curing hair loss, nourishing the kidney and nourishing the blood. It also has a very significant effect on the first condition mentioned just now. Chapter 361. As Su Yiyin spoke, she dipped the black chicken leg in water and put it into the casserole pot. Then she added a pile of medicinal herbs and boiled them with water before lowering the heat to a simmer. Taking advantage of this gap, she grabbed a prepared carp. After cutting it a few times, she stuffed the previously soaked fulling and xuanhuan into the belly of the fish. The fish I'm making now is called Gastrodia alata carp. The medicinal herb Gastrodia alata needs to be soaked for a few hours in advance to completely soften it. After that, it needs to be steamed before it can be used. Otherwise, there is no way to integrate the medicinal properties into the fish. As Su Yiyin spoke, she put the Gastrodia alata on the drawer to steam. Today she opened the live broadcast book on a whim. She didn't have time to gather the ingredients immediately. Fortunately, the medicinal herbs planted on the farm could be in a dry or wet state before harvesting. When she took out the Gastrodia alata, it was already in a wet state, which saved her a lot of trouble. After the Gastrodia alata was cooked, Su Yiyin stuffed it into the knife and the belly of the fish. Then she steamed it with scallions and ginger on the drawer. The third dish is lamb bone porridge. The cooking method is relatively simple. I've just dipped the lamb and lamb bones in water. Just cut them and put them in. The main point is this medicine bag. Su Yiyin took out a small medicine bag and put it in front of the camera so that the audience could see it. This medicine bag contains cooked ground, Chinese yam, dodder, walnut kernel, and more than a dozen other medicinal herbs. The ingredients are relatively complex. The dosage is also prepared in advance. Considering that everyone might not be familiar with these things, and that it would be troublesome to make them yourself, I will ask the people in the restaurant to help me make them and pack them up. If you want to bring them back, you can buy them from the restaurant when the time comes. In addition, after today's live broadcast, I will draw a few lucky audience members to give it away. When the audience in the live broadcast room heard that there were more than a dozen medicinal herbs in the small bag, many of them who were not in the same city as Su Yiyin, who originally wanted to steal it and get someone to buy it back to try it for themselves, could not help but want to retreat. Then they heard that Su Yiyin would make these small bags and sell them directly. She would also draw a lottery to give them away. In an instant they became spirited again. Host, please take care of me. I pray that you will draw me. Immortal host, as long as I buy this small bag I can try to cook porridge myself. I'll buy it tomorrow. I hope it's not too expensive. The price of the streamer's shop is very reasonable. What you should be worried about is not the price, but whether there will be too many people fighting for it tomorrow. When Su Yiyin saw their messages, he smiled and threw the medicine packets into the pot to boil the soup. He smiled and said, "Don't worry about the price. It's still the same as before. We'll strive to make it affordable for most people." Su Yiyin could not guarantee that everyone could afford it, but it was still possible for most people to try it once in a while. The essence of the lamb bones needed to be stewed for a period of time before it could flow into the soup. Su Yiyin took advantage of this time to boil an egg with the Chinese knotweed. Then she made a dessert, sesame kelp cake. The white sesame seed contains many nutrients that the human body needs. It can prevent our hair from turning white and falling off prematurely. Su Yiyin put the clean and dry white sesame seeds into the pot and stir-fried them until they were fragrant. Then she ground them into powder and added them together with the kelp powder into the starch to make a dough and steamed it in the pot. At this time the lamb bone soup was almost done. She fished out the small bag of medicine and added the washed rice into the pot. Then, she stir-fried a large spoonful of seasoning oil and poured it over the steamed carp. Chapter 362. With a click, the originally light and thin carp seemed to be infused with a soul in an instant. A faint white smoke wrapped in a domineering smell swept through the entire kitchen and the live broadcast room, shocking everyone. After the familiar few seconds of silence, a series of rumors emerged one after another, densely packed and stacked on top of each other. If not, they would almost cover Su Yiyan's face. This fish is amazing. I'm crying while eating. This fish is so delicious. It's fragrant and tender. Every time I watch the host cook fish, I have an inexplicable feeling of being in a trance. It's obviously the same fish and the same cooking method. Why is it that the fish I cook is not as delicious as the host's? What I lack is this fish in these hands. What I lack is the host. I really didn't expect a fish to be cooked in so many different ways. The previous braised fish was more fresh and fragrant, but this one is different. The outside is charred and crispy, but the inside is very sweet, fresh and tender. It also has a sweet taste. It should be because of the gastrodia alata. All in all, it's not fishy at all. It's not greasy at all. I worship the boss above. He completely described the essence of this dish. After eating for a long time, I can only squeeze out 2 words: delicious. Su Yiyan took the fish to the side and stirred the porridge. The essence of the lamb bones had been completely integrated into the soup and seeped into the rice through the soup. It smelled quite tempting and made people want to eat it. In addition, the black chicken soup with cooked yam was almost ready. Su Yiyan scooped some out and put it next to the fish, preparing to take it out together later. After the fish, soup and porridge were all out of the pot, Su Yiyan fished out the eggs that were almost cooked from the soup. At this time, the sesame seaweed cake was almost ready. The dough that had swelled due to the heat became transparent and soft, like a piece of jelly, crystal clear. Su Yiyan quickly carved a few pink flowers with radishes and put them on the edge of the snow-white plate, matching a few small square pieces of sesame seaweed cake in the center. It didn't look like a plate of dessert, but more like a work of art. Many people were reluctant to eat it. Many girls took a liking to this pastry at first glance. They rubbed their small hands and secretly prayed that they would be chosen. After finishing all the dishes in one go, Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief. She picked up a white towel and wiped her hands, saying, "The dishes are all done. As usual, I can't send the fish. As for the other dishes, I'll pick a lucky audience member to send them. Those who didn't get selected, don't be sad. The dishes in today's live broadcast will be available in the restaurant one after another. Those who like them can make a reservation in advance." Su Yiyan's words did not comfort those suffering bald men. Not to mention that there were always some of them who were not in a city. Just the number of guests that the restaurant received every day was already enough to make a bunch of people die. However, no matter how much they complained, Su Yiyan couldn't do anything about it. This was already the limit of the carnival hall. Any more and everyone would be overworked, and the loss would outweigh the gain. After that, Su Yiyan briefly introduced the corresponding hair loss symptoms of several dishes. She divided some of the dishes into a lucky draw and gave them away. Then she left the small kitchen and ran to call xuanhuan to eat. Xuanhuan turned her wheelchair out of the room. Seeing the table full of delicious dishes, she should have had a big appetite. But when she thought that the dishes on the table were all for her hairline, Xuanhuan couldn't help but twitch the corners of her eyes and feel complicated. Chapter 363. Jianghu, who felt that his hairline was still very solid, finished the meal with a subtle expression on his face. Little did he know that this meal, which he was extremely resistant to, was a supreme honor in the eyes of some people. He didn't know how lucky he was. That night, Xuanhuan called Zui Yanbai first and asked him to send a small robot to her house early the next morning. It didn't have many functions as long as it could help relieve boredom. Zui Yanbai was not stupid. He immediately guessed that this robot was for young mistress. While he agreed, he said thoughtfully, "Young master, many people in the company watched young mistress's live stream today." Xuanhuan's face darkened. He recalled that Su Yiyan had explicitly said that she was worried about his hairline in the live stream. Now he was afraid that everyone in his company would think that his hairline was in danger. Zui Yanbai had no idea that his young master's focus was a little off. He didn't understand his young master's hint at all. When he saw that Jianghu didn't say anything, he had no choice but to bite the bullet and continue. After watching the live stream, Many people in the company hope that young mistress can save their poor hair. Xuanhuan narrowed her eyes. If they want to eat it, they can order it from a medicinal cuisine restaurant. The corners of Zhu Yanbai's eyes twitched slightly. I told them the same thing, but they said that young mistress's medicinal cuisine restaurant is already half a year away. If they really wait until then, I'm afraid that nearly half of the people in the company will have become bald. Although this sounded a little funny, it wasn't impossible. In order to research and develop the protective robot, they would probably have to continue working overtime for the next 6 months or even a year. Although this kind of research and development paid high salaries and gave a high sense of accomplishment, it wasn't an exaggeration to say that these achievements were exchanged for their thin hair and receding hairlines. If they had a choice, who would want to be bald? Who would want to be bald? Xuanhuan followed Zhu Yanbai's words and tried to imagine a scene where nearly half of the people in the company were light bulbs. Seeing that Xuanhuan was silent again, Zhu Yanbai was a little distressed. I heard that the employees in young mistress's restaurant have the benefit of tasting the medicinal cuisine for free. Because of this, many people in the company have already thought of quitting and applying for a job at young mistress's restaurant. Hu Jingyao was speechless. You're a high-tech intellectual who's coding, why are you applying for a job at my wife's restaurant? Do errands, young mistresses, Zhu Yanbai, young mistress, Zhu Yanbai's words. Following Yu Xian's example of praising Su Yiyan, Zhu Yanbai said, young master and young mistress are a family. Husband and wife are one. Now that all of our companies are under young mistress's name, they can be considered as young mistress's companies. Xuanhuan was speechless. Although he had planned to give his companies to Su Yiyan as a betrothal gift, he never thought that these outstanding backbones that he had painstakingly cultivated would be seduced away by his wife's meal. Should he be angry? Or should he be happy? Zhu Yanbai was used to losing face. He coughed lightly and said even more shamelessly, ahem. Well, we don't ask for the same benefits as the employees in young mistress's restaurant. We just hope that young mistress can give our employees a back door so that they can cut in line for young master's sake. Xuanhuan was speechless. Chapter 364. Zhu Yanbai sounded so pitiful that he almost shouted at Xuanhuan, save the child. Xuanhuan hung up the phone with a cold face, but she still took his words to heart. Su Yiyan received a call from Xia Junxing shortly after dinner. He told her about Luo Weibing. Ning Chirui has already talked to Luo Weibing. He asked him to bring his sister's test report to the Ning family tomorrow afternoon. You can go and have a look. Both Ning Chirui and Luo Weibing were public figures and they were popular topics. If they were photographed by some media when they met outside, it would cause another uproar. For this reason, Xia Junxing discussed with Ning Chirui's agent and decided to meet at Ning Chirui's house. The Ning family was located in a high-end villa area with strict security. No matter how good the paparazzi were, they could not easily sneak in. Yes, is there any problem with the Ning family? You don't have to worry about this. They were very happy when they heard that you were coming. They said that they wanted to see you for a long time. Su Yiyan nodded and muttered, well, can I bring my family? Xia Junxing's eyebrows twitched. He felt that this topic was not very friendly to a single person like him. Should be, okay. Su Yiyan heard Xia Junxing's uncertainty and did not embarrass him. She chuckled and said, forget it, I'll ask them myself. Su Yiyan asked Xia Junxing for Ning Chirui's contact information and called him directly. Ning Chirui's health had improved a lot during this time, and his family did not restrict his contact with the outside world. When he received a call from Su Yiyan, Ning Chirui was still a little surprised. He thought that she had something to tell him about the meeting with Luo Weibing tomorrow afternoon. As a result, you come to my house to see someone and bring your family? Why can't I? Ning Chirui's mouth twitched slightly and he could not help but say, are you conjoined twins? You have to take me with you wherever you go. Su Yiyan said shyly and confidently, oh, we are newlyweds. Naturally, we don't want to be separated for a moment. You're still young, so it's normal that you don't understand. Ning Chirui. What did she mean by, I'm still young so it's normal that I don't understand? Is she mocking me for being young and not having been in a relationship before? But screw you. You're the one who's young. Your whole family is young. I'm not young. So do you agree or not? I'm just bringing a family member. It's not like I'm staying at your place for dinner. Do you have to be so stingy? Ning Chirui almost exploded in anger. What did she mean by not leaving food at my house? Was that what he cared about? However, when he thought about how much food he had eaten during this period of time, Ning Chirui suddenly became weak. In the end he snorted coldly, "If you want to come, then come. Is there anyone stopping you? But be careful, please don't do anything inappropriate in public. Alright, if there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. I'm a patient and need to rest early." After Ning Chirui finished speaking, he did not wait for Su Yiyen's reaction and ended the call. Su Yiyen was stunned for a while before she reacted. "What do you mean by, please don't do anything inappropriate in public? When did Xuanhuan and I?" Su Yiyen was both angry and amused, but in the end she could not do anything to him. She could only secretly think that she would go over tomorrow and give him 2 more injections. Ning Chirui, who had no idea that his cheap mouth had caused another disaster for himself, suddenly felt a chill down his spine. He had a faint premonition that there seemed to be a wicked person who wanted to harm him. Chapter 365. After dealing with Ning Chirui, Su Yiyen got up and looked around. She frowned slightly as if she had sensed something. She felt that she seemed to have forgotten something. Su Yiyen walked around the house a few times but could not remember what she had forgotten. She had no choice but to give up. Forget it, she would think about it later. At that time, a certain child, who had unfortunately been forgotten by the 2 adults in the Su family, looked at the dark night outside the window with a sad face. "Little Dun Dun, don't be afraid. Yin doesn't want you anymore, but I'm still your uncle. Come, I'll take you to take a bath. We can go to bed after you're done bathing." Su Yuxuan squatted in front of Dun Dun and revealed the legendary weird uncle's smile. Dun Dun's dull eyes finally reacted after hearing the word bath. It kicked forward with its short legs and kicked Su Yuxuan's handsome face with a force that did not match its small body. Then, while Su Yuxuan was still in a daze, it ran away with its short legs. Su Yuxuan was stunned for a few seconds before he reacted. He hurriedly got up to catch Dun Dun. "Hey, don't run, come back. Woof woof woof, woof woof woof." It would be stupid if it did not run at this time. It was not stupid. Just like that, one ran and the other chased. The Su family was still in chaos and lively in the middle of the night. The next morning, Zui Yanbai personally sent the little robot to the door. When he saw xuanhuan, his eyes were full of pleading and longing. Xuanhuan was speechless. Su Yiyen did not know about the little episode between the 2. As soon as he learned that Zui Yanbai had sent the little robot over, he immediately ran down from upstairs and said excitedly, "Is this a smart little robot? Let me see." Zui Yanbai quickly moved aside, allowing Su Yiyen to clearly see the little robot's true appearance. It was a little robot about 1 meter tall, and every part of its body looked round. Its head was round, its hands were round, its feet were round, and even its small body was round. It looked like an enlarged version of a glutinous rice ball. Su Yiyen's eyes lit up. She immediately fell in love with this cute little guy. Does it have a name? No, the robots that haven't been sold yet don't have names, only numbers. It's convenient for customers to name the robots themselves after buying them. The serial number of this robot is 001. 001. Su Yiyen was startled and immediately thought of a certain system. System, look at her. She's so cute. Unlike you, who often can't even squeeze out a word after poking for a long time. Su Yiyen was just routinely teasing the system, and he did not expect it to respond. Unexpectedly, the next second he heard a familiar mechanical voice. "Host, please do not compare the system with such a low-level robot." It was clearly a rigid statement, but Su Yiyen could hear a trace of disdain and annoyance in it. This was the first time Su Yiyen felt emotions from the system's reply. Although he was surprised, he could not help but feel a little more interested. His eyes turned slightly and he looked at the little robot with a smile. "It hasn't been turned on yet? How do I use it?" Zui Yanbai did not say anything. Instead he looked at Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan glanced at him, then took the initiative to bring up the control panel and press it. Su Yiyen could only see his fingers typing a bunch of things on the panel. It was so fast that there were afterimages. Following his movements, Su Yiyen's eyes widened, and his heart thumped. There was only one thought left in his mind. No wonder people said that men were the most handsome when they were focused. Her husband was really handsome. Chapter 366. Ding dong. The notification sound of the page opening successfully pulled Su Yiyen back from his infatuation. "Give it a name." Xuanhuan turned to look at Su Yiyen with a hint of indulgence between his eyebrows. "Me. The person who names it will be its owner." Su Yiyen was enlightened. He carefully looked at the little robot and muttered, "Look at how round its body is, why don't we call it Xuanhuan?" Xuanhuan, Zuiyin Bai, the system, Su Yiyin even thought that the name was quite good. It fit the little robot's appearance and was catchy. What do you think? As long as you're happy. Therefore, this little robot that could not be bought with money was given a name so carelessly. However, the people around could not help but praise the person who named it against their will. It was a good name, a good name, a good name. The little robot. Weak, helpless, and pitiful. After Su Yiyin gave the little robot a name, he seemed to have thought of something and continued to harass the system. Do you want me to give you a name too? 001 or whatever it is sounds very perfunctory. The system. Compared to a name like Xuanhuan, it felt that 001 was quite good. In order to avoid this fatal problem, the system wisely chose to play dead. No matter how much Su Yiyin poked it, it was not willing to make a sound. Su Yiyin poked for a long time but did not get a response. He quickly gave up and continued to torment the little robot. After entering the name, there was another notification sound. The little robot's big black eyes suddenly lit up, and its internal system finally started to operate. Hello, this is the intelligent little robot Xuanhuan. From today onwards, I will serve you wholeheartedly. I hope that the owner will like me, love me, and treat me as a member of the family. After the rigid mechanical voice, it turned into a childish voice. Hello, big sister master, I'm number 001 AI Xuanhuan. Don't be fooled by my small size, I'm very useful. Su Yiyin was startled by her cheerful tone and her tone, which seemed to be asking for credit. She looked at xuanhuan and asked with a smile, "Then what can you do?" Xuanhuan can carry the dishes, wash the clothes, clean the house, carry the table, change the light bulbs, and build the manor. Su Yiyin listened to the little robot's childish voice as it said that it could carry a table and change light bulbs. For some reason he felt like he was illegally hiring child labor. You're so capable. How much should I pay you a month? Master, you don't need to pay Xuanhuan a salary. You just need to let Xuanhuan eat her fill and have the strength to work. Su Yiyin was slightly startled. Do you mean to recharge your batteries? No need. As soon as Su Yiyin finished speaking, xuanhuan added, it uses a solar panel. You just need to let it bask in the sun every day. Under normal circumstances, it can be used for 1 to 2 months after basking in the sun for 1 to 2 days. Oh wow. Could operate normally just by basking in the sun, and it could be used for 1 to 2 months. This was simply an extremely long standby. Thinking about it this way, even if this little robot couldn't protect its owner, it could still take on multiple roles. It could be a nanny, a pet, or even a playmate for children at home. It was simply a multi-purpose treasure chest. It was so much better than those little pets that always gave their owners attitude and ate a lot. Dun Dun, who was caught off guard, was confused. Chapter 367. It's fine as long as it's full. What a low requirement. At the very least, it should be enough to eat and wear warm clothes. How about this? I'll ask Uncle Zhang to prepare a few small clothes for you to change into so that you can wear them to work every day. You can change out of them when they get dirty, okay? Rolly Yuan's round eyes instantly turned into crescents, and its tender voice was tinged with pure joy. Okay, Rolly Yuan will be responsible for washing the dirty clothes that you change out of. Its crisp voice coupled with its round shape really made people want to hold it in the palm of their hands and give it a few kisses. Do your own things, Rolly Yuan is so obedient. As Su Yiyin spoke, she seemed to have thought of something and frowned. But Rolly Yuan, are you a boy or a girl? Xuanhuan? Zuiyenbai couldn't help but laugh out loud. Then he was rewarded with a cold glare by his young master. He was so scared that he shivered and lowered his head to hide the smile on his face. Su Yiyin didn't seem to care. She only raised her head and looked at Xuanhuan in confusion. In her opinion, this little fellow was a product of Xuanhuan's company, so Xuanhuan should have some say in this matter. Robots don't have a clear gender. If you like girls, dress it up as girls. If you like boys, dress it up as boys. As soon as she finished speaking, Rolly Yuan continued, Rolly Yuan can be a girl or a boy depending on master's needs. I can do anything. Su Yiyin? What kind of heartwarming little angel was this? Then it's better to be a girl. You can wear all kinds of little dresses. Su Yiyin looked at Rolly Yuan and felt that it would be more convenient for it to wear dresses. However, Xuanhuan and Zuiyenbai didn't think so at all. The two of them looked at each other. They inexplicably suspected that the reason why the short-legged robot liked to wear lace dresses was not because of its personal preference, but because of its master, Su Yiyan. Su Yiyan didn't know what the two of them were thinking. After confirming the gender of the little robot, it would take some time for someone to send some children's clothes over. She rolled her eyes and turned into the small kitchen. Seeing this, Zui Yanbai couldn't help but whisper to Xuanhuan, "Young master, is young madam raising 001 like a child?" Although Xuanhuan thought the same, she still scolded coldly, "What 001? It's called xuanhuan." Zui Yanbai. "Alright, whatever you say. As long as you're happy." Su Yiyan went to the kitchen to find an apron that she usually wore and put it on Xuanhuan. The short skirt fit Xuanhuan's body just right above his little round penis, and it was surprisingly fitting. The cute snowman pattern in the middle of the apron also looked very compatible with Xuanhuan. Su Yiyan looked it up and down and said with satisfaction, "Not bad. I'll make do with it today. I'll change you into a beautiful dress tomorrow." Roly-Poly, on the other hand, was very satisfied with this somewhat simple apron. There was even a faint blush on her cheeks. "Xuanhuan likes small skirts." Su Yiyan smiled, "Is that so? It seems that Xuanhuan is indeed a girl. In the future, Master will change Xuanhuan's salary into small skirts." Yes. The pitiful and forgotten Zai Zai finally returned home under Su Yuxuan's escort. When it saw this scene, it was as if it was struck by lightning. What a heartless master. It had only been a day since it left home, and he already had a new lover. Chapter 368. Dun Dun was like a grieving wife who had caught her husband secretly meeting with a mistress. Its little penis was kicking as it struggled to escape from Su Yuxuan's embrace. Su Yuxuan was shocked. She wanted to hold it down, but she was worried that she would injure it severely. In a fluster, it quickly escaped. As soon as Dun Dun broke free from Su Yuxuan's embrace, it immediately ran in the direction of the little robot, barking as it ran. "Dun Dun." Su Yiyan was stunned for a moment. When she saw Dun Dun flying towards the little robot, she subconsciously stood in front of the little robot to prevent Dun Dun from pouncing on the little robot. Unexpectedly, in the next second, she heard a familiar mechanical voice behind her. "An attacking object has been detected. It is recommended that you immediately expel it." Expel? Before Su Yiyan had time to understand what this meant, she saw the little robot's cute little round hand suddenly retract. When it reappeared, it had become a hand-shaped paddle? Pa, woof. Dun Dun, who was originally aggressive and wanted to take down the mistress, flew out in a parabola and let out a terrified scream. Xuanhuan, Zui Yanbai, Su Yuxuan, who had rushed in to try and stop Dun Dun. Dun Dun. In the end, Su Yiyan, the biological mother, was the first to react. She screamed and ran over to check on Dun Dun's situation. Fortunately, it was lucky. After it was sent flying by Xuanhuan, it just happened to plunge into the grass outside the door and not into the rose bushes next to it. When Su Yiyan dug it out from the grass, it only had a few leaves on its body and its fur was dirty. The whole dog was dizzy and couldn't stand steadily, but its life was not in danger. Su Yiyan picked up Dun Dun and checked it from head to toe. After making sure that it was really fine, she heaved a sigh of relief and lowered her head to poke its little head. You, what should I say about you? Didn't I tell you not to pounce on others casually?" Woof. Dun Dun let out a pitiful cry, looking at Su Yiyan with eyes full of complaints. "Not only did you leave your little darling outside, you even found a new lover." It was one thing for him to have a new lover, but at this time he was actually criticizing him for his new lover? "You heartless master." Dun Dun was filled with grievances when the little robot ran over and asked its master, "Detected an aggressive life form. Do you want to expel it?" Su Yiyan was slightly stunned. Only then did he understand what the little robot meant by banishing the dog. He laughed and said, "This is our family's dog. We can't banish it." Xuanhuan received the order and ding dong, "Master's pet dog. Information has been backed up. No need to expel it." Xuanhuan carefully and conscientiously checked the surrounding dangerous creatures for its master, but it didn't know that this action once again poked Dun Dun's sensitive little heart. This shameless little fairy not only charmed its master, but also wanted its master to chase it away. If this could be tolerated, what else could be tolerated? Woof woof woof, woof woof woof. Dun Dun struggled to bare its teeth at Xuanhuan, struggling to pounce on it. Xuanhuan's dimmed eyes lit up again with a faint light. "Detected that this dog is aggressive. Do you want to punish it on the spot?" "Punish?" Su Yiyan couldn't help but gasp. "What do you want to do?" Kill it on the spot and make it into a dog meat hot pot. Chapter 369. Su Yiyin looked at the dog and robot who were like fire and water. She helplessly held her forehead and felt a headache coming on. She reached out and patted Dundun's head, then rubbed its fur. She gently advised, Dundun Dundun, be good. This is Xuanhuan, the new member of our family. You two have to get along well and be harmonious and friendly. Don't fight. When Dundun heard Su Yiyin's words, it did not continue to yell at Xuanhuan. However, it suddenly turned around and faced Xuanhuan with its butt. It was clear that it would not cooperate unless there was violence. There was absolutely no possibility of peaceful coexistence. Su Yiyin rubbed her aching head and sighed helplessly. Xuanhuan held her hand and comforted her. Maybe it's because there's suddenly an unfamiliar thing in the house. It'll be fine after a few days. I hope so. What is this? A robot? When the two heard the familiar voice, they subconsciously turned their heads, and only then did they notice Su Yuxuan standing at the side. Brother? When did you come? Su Yuxuan was a little dissatisfied with his sister's neglect. He coldly snorted and said, I came with this little guy. You left it at home yesterday. This little heartless thing used to stay at home when you were at home. Now that you're married, this little fellow has also turned against us. He's been jumping up and down the whole night, wanting to find you, causing a huge commotion in our house. Look at the dark circles under my eyes. It was all caused by this little bastard last night. Su Yiyin listened to her brother's complaints, and a rare look of embarrassment appeared on her face. No wonder she kept feeling that she had missed something last night. It turned out that she had left this little thing at home. I talked to my aunt yesterday and left Dundun at home. This little guy has been quite restless recently. Thank you for your hard work last night. Su Yuxuan sighed and did not continue to dwell on this issue. Instead, he turned his attention to the little robot at the side. This little thing is a robot? Intelligent? Su Yiyin did not say anything. Instead, she glanced at xuanhuan. Xuanhuan didn't hide anything. It's our company's new product. We'll bring it back for Yin to play with. Just treat it as a product test. Oh. Su Yuxuan was obviously very interested in this little robot, but in the end she didn't ask xuanhuan for it. However, xuanhuan saw through his thoughts at a glance. Her eyes flashed slightly and she smiled faintly. This project is not very mature yet. When it's perfected, I'll give one to Big Brother to play with. The expression on Su Yuxuan's face stiffened, and he became angry out of humiliation. Don't think that you can bribe me like this. We're all a family. What's the point of talking about bribing? If you have something good, don't tell me you're going to give it to strangers instead of your family? Su Yuxuan's eyes flickered. After a few minutes, he finally relented and said, All right then. When you're done, sell me one to bring home. Xuanhuan's lips curved slightly, but she didn't refute. When the time came, wouldn't it be up to him to sell or give it away? This robot's technology is not mature yet. There won't be any danger in leaving it at home, right? No, our robot's priority is to protect its owner. Its owner is Yin. Su Yuxuan was completely relieved. In the end, he looked at the little robot a few more times before leaving. During the conversation between the two, Su Yiyin didn't interrupt from beginning to end. It wasn't until Su Yuxuan left that he couldn't help but laugh out loud. You really know how to win people's hearts. If you give this robot away, my brother won't be able to find fault with you in the future. Chapter 370. Xuanhuan looked at her deeply and said meaningfully, I'll only be able to live a good life in your family if I please my brother-in-law. You make it sound like my brother and the rest really did something to you. My parents didn't make things difficult for you when you came home with me yesterday. Xuanhuan smiled but didn't say anything. The Su family didn't make things difficult for him yesterday and even tried to accept him. They had already shown their attitude, so he naturally couldn't be too passive. Even if it was for Su Yiyin, he should try his best to build a good relationship with them. By the way, didn't you say that this robot only has some basic functions? Why did it have such a big reaction when Dundun pounced on it just now? Also, it had banished and punished. These words were especially frightening. Although its functions aren't particularly complete, it's still a robot assembled with this foundation, so it naturally has a certain level of protection. It's just that. Just that. It's just that its protection isn't particularly strong. At most, it can only chase it away. Su Yiyin instantly understood the meaning behind Xuanhuan's words. She probed, if it's completely completed, wouldn't its lethality be? Xuanhuan looked at her and said meaningfully, Dun Dun was lucky to have his life back. Su Yiyan? Oh. Dun Dun, who didn't know that he had just brushed shoulders with the Grim Reaper, looked at his master and dog father in confusion. Su Yiyan patted his dog's head in pity. She didn't need to say anything. Su Yiyan still had to bring Xuanhuan to the Ning family in the afternoon. Before she left, she reminded her repeatedly. She told Xuanhuan that Dun Dun was a family member. Even if he was a little rash, she couldn't be too harsh on him. She was afraid that when she came back from this trip, she would see her own child's cold corpse. Unfortunately, Dun Dun didn't understand his master's motherly feelings at all. As soon as he saw his master leave, he immediately ran to find trouble with Xuanhuan excitedly. Su Yiyan still didn't know that no one could stop his family's dogs and bears when they got together. It was already 3 o'clock in the afternoon when the two arrived at the Ning residence. Perhaps because the Ning family had informed them in advance, the journey was smooth and they quickly arrived at the entrance of the Ning residence. To everyone's surprise, although Ning Xiuan was the only one who came out to welcome Su Yiyan and Su Yu, when they entered the house, there were 5 or 6 people sitting inside. Among them were 2 middle-aged couples and 2 white-haired old men who looked about the same age as her grandfather. Su Yiyan was slightly startled. For a moment he was somewhat unable to grasp the meaning of this family. Xuanhuan seemed to have noticed that she was on guard against these people. He took the initiative to hold her hand and told her that he was here and that she didn't need to worry. Ning Xiuan was even more perceptive as he introduced the two of them. This is my parents and grandfather. Opposite them is my uncle, aunt and grandfather. Su Yiyan raised his eyebrows. He quickly realized that the elders of the Ning family and the Qi family were all present. This lineup was not ordinary. But was this a show of force to show them who was in charge, or? Before she could think about it, Mrs. Ning had already stepped forward and held Su Yiyan's hand enthusiastically. You must be Mrs. Hua, right? Don't stand at the door. Come in and have a seat. Su Yiyan was stunned by her sudden familiarity. By the time she reacted, she had already been pulled in. Xuanhuan's eyes flashed when he saw this. He politely declined Ning Xiuan's help and turned his wheelchair to Su Yiyan's side. He looked coldly at the two families to see what they were up to. Chapter 371. In fact, the two of them really thought too much. The reason why the Ning and Qi families had gathered here was mainly because they wanted to see the two of them. When we heard about Ruerue's condition from Xiuan, we've always wanted to see you. However, Ruerue's illness really made us feel a little overwhelmed. Secondly, we were afraid that it would be too abrupt to come here rashly. 2 days ago we heard Ruerue say that he wanted to invite you to our house, so we wanted to get together to see you and thank you. You're too kind. Chirue is an artist of our company. It's a good thing for me in the company that he's well. Su Yiyan paused and said awkwardly, if you don't mind, you can call me Yayan. Su Yiyan felt a little psychological pressure to be addressed by a person who was old enough to be her mother. Okay. Mrs. Ning looked at Su Yiyan discreetly, and the more she looked, the more she liked her. It was a pity that she was already taken. Otherwise, regardless of age, appearance or family background, she was very compatible with Xiuan. Mrs. Ning said and looked at her eldest son with disappointment. He was already so old, but he still didn't hurry to find a wife. All the good girls had been taken away by others. Young Master Ning, who was really shot even though he was lying down, was speechless. Mom, don't look at me. Can't you see that the wife's eyes are almost piercing your son into a sieve? Su Yiyan also had goosebumps when Mrs. Ning looked at her. She took the initiative to ask, Chirue should be better recently, right? There haven't been any other complications, right? As soon as Ning Chirue was mentioned, the attention of several people instantly focused on Su Yiyan. Recently he has been slowly recovering. He has been eating the food that you sent over. His condition is indeed slowly improving. Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. As long as it doesn't worsen and there are no other complications, he will get better and better after a period of slowly recuperation. His illness can't be rushed. He has to recuperate for a while. When Mr. Ning heard her say this, he hurriedly said, it doesn't matter how long it takes. As long as he can get better, it's worth it no matter how much time we spend. Madame Ning nodded in agreement. That's true. At this time, the old man sitting opposite her suddenly said, I heard that you used acupuncture to treat Chirue. This method has been lost for a long time. Who would have thought that in the end, it would reappear in the hands of a young man? Truly the new generation excels the old. Su Yiyan was slightly startled. But she immediately realized that Yi Qiliang had approached her because he had accidentally heard from Ning Qirui's grandfather that she had treated Ning Qirui. Now that this old man mentioned this, it was not strange. It just so happens that I have some books about this at home, and it just so happens that I have some interest and talent in this area, so I took advantage of it. You don't have to be modest. Although old man Yi has a bad temper, he never jokes about serious matters. He was full of praises for you, so I think you must have real talent and knowledge. Moreover, Qirui's recovery was indeed due to you. We all saw it and were very grateful to you. Su Yiyan listened to the old man's praise, but only laughed dryly. She was really not good at dealing with other people's gratitude. Xuanhuan saw Su Yiyan's discomfort. Her eyes darkened slightly and she suddenly interjected, "You all gathered here so cautiously. It shouldn't be just to thank Yan, right?" Chapter 372. As soon as Xuanhuan said that, the room fell silent. The smile on Mrs. Ning's face froze for a moment. She pursed her lips, sighed and said truthfully, "Just as Mr. Hua said, we gathered here to see Mrs. Hua and thank her in person. We also wanted to ask Mrs. Hua if she could take a look at Xiyuan as well." For Madame Ning, these words were really difficult to say. She didn't ask for anything in return and spent time and effort to treat her youngest son, saving his life. It was bad enough that she didn't want to thank her or compensate her, but she actually wanted her to continue treating her eldest son. No matter how one looked at it, they seemed a little shameless. However, Mrs. Ning had no choice. Ning Xiyuan's asthma had always been a worry for the family. Now that she suddenly knew that there was a possibility of a cure, she had no choice but to ask, even if it meant sacrificing her dignity. "I know this request is very unreasonable, but I still want to shamelessly beg you to be considerate of a mother's heart." "Mom." Ning Xiyuan couldn't bear to see his mother humbling herself for him. He frowned and wanted to stop her. However, Mrs. Ning only looked at him deeply and continued, "Xiyuan's asthma came from his mother's womb. All these years, I've often wondered if I did something evil in my previous life to cause my child to suffer like this." When Mrs. Ning said this, both families looked at her in surprise. Obviously, they didn't expect her to think this way. Because of this illness, Xiyuan's body was weak when he was young. Every time he had an attack, he would suffer for a long time. As his parents, it's impossible for us not to feel sorry for him. In order to make him feel better, we moved from our hometown to City A, where the air quality is the best. Even so, his illness hasn't improved and he can only rely on medicine to alleviate it. Every medicine has its side effects. What really broke Mrs. Ning down was that they were already worried sick about their eldest son's illness. Their healthy youngest son suddenly fell ill. If it weren't for the help of a benefactor, he might have passed away earlier than their eldest son. Suddenly knowing this, Madame Ning almost fainted on the spot. Even now thinking about it, she still felt deeply frightened and scared. She couldn't bear the blow of losing any of her sons, and she couldn't worry about her children day and night. She was afraid that something would happen to him as soon as he left her sight, and she wouldn't have time to give him first aid or take medicine to relieve his pain. Su Yiyan did not immediately agree. Instead, he pondered for a moment and gave an ambiguous answer. "I'll think about it." Mrs. Ning looked a little disappointed. Mr. Ning reached out and hugged her. She quickly recovered and said with a faint smile, "Take your time to think about it. There's no rush." "Yes." Su Yiyan nodded. "Luo Weibing should have arrived, right?" "He's already here. I asked him to wait in Chirui's room." "Well, I'll go over to check on Chirui's situation first and meet him on the way. I'll walk you up." Ning Xiyuan stood up and prepared to walk them up personally. Xuanhuan held Su Yiyan's hand that was about to push him upstairs. "You go up. I'll wait for you downstairs." Su Yiyan was a little surprised. She glanced at Xuanhuan and then at the people in the room. She was not relieved and said, "Wait for me here for a while. I'll be down soon." "Okay." Chapter 373. As she watched Su Yiyan follow Ning Xiyuan upstairs, Xuanhuan's face darkened. She looked at everyone in the room expressionlessly. The few of them had witnessed the stark difference in Xuanhuan's attitude toward Su Yiyan compared to when he was with them. They also had some new speculations about the rumor that the two of them had a business marriage instead of true love. Mr. Ning patted his wife's hand comfortingly and said, "I heard that Mr. Hua's company has been busy applying for patents related to electronic products." Xuanhuan looked up at him. She was not surprised that he knew about this. Although the Ning and Qi families appeared to be big business families on the surface, they were comparable to the Qing family when it came to relationships within certain organizations. Mr. Ning, are you interested in this too? I am, but unfortunately I don't know much about this. I'm not an expert. If I really want to enter the industry, I'll need a professional to guide me. Xuanhuan's eyes flickered. She instantly understood Mr. Ning's intentions. So, you chose me to be your guide? Mr. Ning did not expect Xuanhuan to be so straightforward. He frowned and said honestly, "You can say that." Reason? What is it? My reason for choosing me. Mr. Ning's face stiffened. He coughed softly and said, "This type of product requires a lot of investment. Even if it can be listed, it will require a fixed amount of publicity funds in the initial period. We can invest in all of this. Is it because of Ning Xiyuan's illness?" Xuanhuan saw through their intentions. You want me to persuade Yan to agree to treat Ning Xiyuan through investment? Yes. This was the only way they could think of to repay Su Yiyan. I refuse. Mr. and Mrs. Ning were shocked. Mr. Hua, you can think about it. I won't force Yan to do anything that she doesn't want to do. But, if she agrees to treat Ning Xiyuan today, she will treat him even if you don't cooperate with me. On the other hand, if she's not willing to treat Ning Xiyuan, even if you work with me, I won't ask her for benefits. Madame Ning looked anxious. She wanted to say something but was stopped by Grandpa Qi. Shuang Air. Qi Yushuang pursed her lips and lowered her head in disappointment. The two elders, who had the most authority, looked at each other and thought highly of Xuanhuan. It was Yao Hui and the others who were rude. Even without your wife, the prospects of your company's products are still very promising. Xuanhuan met Elder Ning's gaze. Her eyes were deep and she didn't say anything. Su Yiyan did not know what had happened downstairs after she left. She followed Ning Xiyuan up to the second floor and soon arrived at Ning Chirui's room. As soon as he opened the door, he could see the furnishings inside. In order to store the medical equipment in the already spacious room, the room next door was forcibly opened, and the two rooms were combined into one. Not only were there one or two medical equipment in the room, but there were also all kinds of furniture and game equipment. Su Yiyan's mouth twitched. Ning Xiyuan stood next to her and understood her thoughts at a glance. He said awkwardly, "Chirui can't go out during this period. It's too boring to be alone in the room." He's not a quiet person. Su Yiyan was speechless. You don't have to explain. How could your brother be so unrestrained while recovering from his illness? Did he forget that he was still a patient? Chapter 374. There were only 3 people in the room: Ning Chirui, his agent, and Luo Weibing. Seeing Su Yiyan walk in, Luo Weibing was surprised, but he did not think much about it. He just thought that Ning Chirui had called her over. Ning Chirui's eyes lit up when he saw Su Yiyan, but he complained with some dissatisfaction. "Didn't you say you'd be here at 3? Why are you here so late? As the boss of the company, you have no sense of time at all." Su Yiyan laughed. This guy started to act like a young master as soon as he got better. He looked cute when he was sick and miserable some time ago. "I did arrive at 3 o'clock, but I talked to your parents downstairs for a while, so I was delayed." "You're here to see me. What's the point of talking to them?" Ning Chirui's attitude towards Su Yiyan's conversation made Luo Weibing's expression change for a moment, but he quickly suppressed it and did not let anyone see it. "Chirui." Ning Xiyuan scolded Ning Chirui. "Don't be so rude." Ning Chirui was stunned by his scolding. He was a little unconvinced, but he did not say anything. Su Yiyan did not mind. After 2 or 3 months of contact, she had roughly figured out the young master's temperament. She knew that although he was a little capricious and arrogant, he did not have a bad heart. "Although I'm here to see you, I'm still a guest. How can a guest not greet the guest when he arrives at the host's house?" Ning Chirui's expression improved a little. He glanced behind the two and wondered, "Where's your family?" "They're downstairs." Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows slightly and deliberately showed a wave of affection in front of them. "We have to talk about things here for a while. I'm afraid that he'll be tired if he waits for too long, so I let him talk to your parents downstairs to relieve his boredom." Ning Xiyuan. How could she lie through her teeth like that? Ning Chirui. Did you misunderstand your husband? He's a big man in a wheelchair. How tired can he be? Why does he sound like a weak little girl in your mouth? And if he's tired of sitting and waiting, isn't he tired of talking to my parents? The corners of Ning Chirui's mouth twitched and he looked constipated. Although he hadn't seen Xuanhuan many times, he always felt that this man was filled with a dangerous aura. If this feeling had to be summed up, it could be called the intuition of a small animal encountering a dangerous natural enemy. Now that he heard Su Yiyen's words, he subconsciously shuddered and got goosebumps all over his body. Su Yiyen was a little disappointed that Ning Qiruwei didn't answer, so he turned his eyes to Luo Weibing. Best actor Luo? Luo Weibing lowered his eyes and said, Boss Su, just call me by my name. Su Yiyen raised an eyebrow. You know me? The video of Mr. Su angrily scolding his ex-fiancée and his mistress has been widely circulated on the internet. Su Yiyen stared blankly for a moment before she chuckled. So that's how it is. I heard that you plan to transfer to our company? Luo Weibing didn't expect to meet Su Yiyen before this. To be precise, he wasn't mentally prepared to meet her so early and under such circumstances. After a long silence, he nodded hesitantly. Yes, if possible, I want to transfer to your company. But I have a request. For your sister? Luo Weibing was stunned again. He lowered his head slightly and said in a hoarse voice, Yes. I hope your company can arrange for Mr. Ning's attending doctor to take a look at my sister. Her health is not very good. Su Yiyen saw Luo Weibing's defense and didn't intend to continue to beat around the bush. She reached out and said, Where's the case? Give it to me. Chapter 375. Luo Weibing's eyes widened and he looked at Su Yiyen in surprise. His hand holding the medical record tightened subconsciously. Ning Qiruwei saw that he did not respond for a long time and urged him, Give it to her. Su Yiyen also smiled, You have been clamoring to see me before. Now that I am in front of you, why are you hesitating? Luo Weibing thought to himself, When did I clamor to see you? The words were about to come out of his mouth when he suddenly realized something. His face changed. What? You are the attending doctor that Ning Qiruwei mentioned? The smile on Su Yiyen's face suddenly froze. He turned his head and glared daggers at Ning Qiruwei. Ning Qiruwei touched his nose guiltily and whispered, You are the one who treated her, so it's not wrong to say so. Luo Weibing finally woke up from his daze and hurriedly handed over the information in his hand. Sorry, I didn't think of it. I'm really sorry I didn't. In the eyes of the fans, this big star was humble, gentle, calm and introverted. It was rare to see pure fear and anxiety on his face. He was afraid that Su Yiyen would not treat his sister because of his negligence just now. Su Yiyen took the information and flipped through it slightly to see the test results at the bottom. Heart failure. Su Yiyen knew that Luo Weibing's sister died because of heart problems, but he did not expect it to be heart failure. How could a 12-year-old girl suffer from heart failure? Luo Weibing saw Su Yiyen frowning and looking dignified. His heart also thumped and he called out tentatively, President Su. Su Yiyen took a deep breath and asked in a low voice, heart palpitations, difficulty breathing and blue and purple lips. When did these symptoms begin? Luo Weibing was stunned. These things were not written in the diagnosis, but Su Yiyen could say it all at once. Luo Weibing could not help but have a glimmer of hope in his heart. These symptoms began to appear one by one about 3 months ago. At first they were only occasional, but in the past month they began to become frequent. What about before? This child should have had other minor symptoms before, such as fatigue easily, chest tightness from time to time, shortness of breath and so on. Didn't you notice anything before this? Luo Weibing's face changed slightly, and the hand hanging on his side tightened subconsciously. That's right, he didn't notice it. More accurately, he did notice it, but he didn't take it to heart. In his opinion, his sister's body had always been weak since she was young. In addition, when their parents had just passed away, the two of them had been tossing and turning all over the place. This had affected the child's body and mind to a certain extent. His younger sister had always been quiet since she was young. After her parents passed away, she didn't like to talk much. Other than with him, she was always timid and scared of strangers. Luo Weibing always thought that what Su Yiyen just said was the sequela of his sister's nervousness and sensitivity after the death of his parents, but he didn't expect that these were all his sister's death talismans. It was one thing for his sister to hide the fact that she was not feeling well and did not want to disturb him because of her. But this couldn't cover up his dereliction of duty. It was he who didn't discover his sister's abnormality at the first moment and let her seek medical treatment as soon as possible. If something happened to his sister because of this, he was afraid that he would never forgive himself in his life. Su Yiyen obviously thought of this. He sighed and said, Forget it. It doesn't make sense to say this now. Let's find a way to save the child first. Chapter 376. When Luo Weibing hears Su Yiyan's words, he immediately looks forward to it. Do you have a way? I can't make a conclusion for the time being without seeing her, but you have to be mentally prepared. Luo Weibing looks at Su Yiyan's serious face and his heart trembles. He is afraid of getting a terrible answer. What? This disease is not easy to cure. Although it can be prevented to a certain extent, it may not be completely cured. If this is the case, your sister may have to take medicine for a lifetime. Your sister is only 12 years old this year, which means that you may have to pay for her long-term medical expenses. Su Yiyan doesn't finish the words, but the meaning of the words is clear. To prolong life or to give up, the responsibility of choosing the former is more than 1,000 times heavier. This is a helpless multiple-choice question, but it is also the most serious test of human nature. Luo Weibing doesn't even think about it. These are not problems as long as my sister can be well, as long as she is well. Su Yiyan heaved a sigh of relief when she heard what he said. All right. Then let's talk about your contract. I have talked about this with Mr. Xia of your company before. My request is very simple. As long as you can cure my sister, I can compromise on the specific share. This is the rhythm of directly signing the contract of selling himself. Su Yiyan's eyebrows are slightly bent, but he is not stunned by his sugar-coated cannonball. Instead, he asked a completely unrelated question. How was your relationship with your previous manager? Luo Weibing's face suddenly becomes subtle. Not very good. Su Yiyan is amused by his words. Not very good but very bad? Luo Weibing is embarrassed and says truthfully, because of Chi-Chi's affairs, I haven't been doing my job recently, so my relationship with him is not particularly good. What Luo Weibing doesn't say is that his agent is a person who is used to taking advantage of the wind and putting interests first. He has done a lot of dirty things. When he first signed in that company, he thought that he had a good luck and had a way out, but the reality slapped him hard. In order to save a female artist who was also a pimp, Luo Weibing offended a powerful department leader in the company. He was slandered and kept in cold storage for more than 2 years. During that time, Luo Weibing not only lost his source of income, but also was repeatedly found trouble. The whole family was restless. Even his sister was frightened by him several times. At that time he had really thought of dying. But when he thought of how young his sister was, without him taking care of her, there would only be one outcome for her, so he had no choice but to grit his teeth and persevere. As for his manager, not only did he not lend him a helping hand at that time, he even stepped on him a few times out of fear that he would be held accountable for his actions in order to please the team leader. Later on, he was spotted by the director of a small web drama because of his cameo. He was given a chance to play the second male lead in the drama. No one expected that such an inconspicuous director, such an inconspicuous web drama, the male and female protagonists were not popular, but Luo Weibing, the second male lead, was unexpectedly popular. Luo Weibing felt that his luck in his life might have been used at that time. When he suddenly became popular, the company was just in a state of shortage. Suddenly there appeared an artist who could be supported. Even if the former department leader fanned the flames behind his back and tried his best to prevent the company from cultivating him, he still couldn't win. Chapter 377. Luo Weibing seized the opportunity and became the company's hottest newcomer. He lived up to the company's expectations. Soon he won countless awards with his own ability and became a double gold actor that many people couldn't get in their lives. His manager had returned to his side once again, trying to curry favor with him and coerce him into doing so. Luo Weibing was already disappointed with this agent and the company at that time. It was just that it involved the contract, so he had to stay in the company. Even if Luo Weibing didn't say it, Su Yiyan could probably guess some of it. There were only a few reasons why agents and artists had conflicts. Looking at Luo Weibing's face, she was afraid that it was not as simple as him taking less work recently. Does he have anything on you? I don't think so. Luo Weibing thought of that person's virtue and frowned slightly. But with his personality, maybe he will make something out of nothing. Su Yiyan's eyes darkened slightly and she said with a smile, "This is troublesome. We are such a small company. If we really fight with your original agency." As soon as Luo Weibing heard her words, he immediately became anxious. "Boss Su, I really want to enter your company sincerely, and I have never done anything harmful to others." You. Su Yiyan couldn't help but laugh out loud. Okay, I didn't say that I don't want you. Let me finish." Luo Weibing pursed his lips and looked at her eagerly, but she said proudly in the next second, "Our small company may not win against your former agency, but my husband is rich. With his help, no one can touch the people in my company. Luo weeping, the others in the room, will you die if you don't show off your love? Ning Chirui was annoyed by the public display of affection and said angrily, can't you be more promising? You look for your husband for everything. Su Yiyin heard this and sneered. I haven't seen you for a few days and your mouth has become nimble again. Believe it or not, I will give you a few needles now. No matter how many needles you give me, I will say the same thing. Ning Chirui looked unconvinced. Am I wrong? You always bring up your husband. Can't you have a little backbone? Backbone? My husband and I are family. What's his is mine. If I don't hug such a big golden thigh and hold on by myself, that's not called having a backbone, that's called being stupid. Ning Chirui was speechless. Oh, how infuriating. But I couldn't refute it. This single dog was really anxious to death. Ning Xiyuan watched the scene from the side with a slight smile. In the past, he had only seen his younger brother make people speechless. It was rare to see someone make him so speechless. However, Ning Xiyuan subconsciously glanced at Su Yiyan. Being able to make a woman trust and rely on him was a kind of happiness for some people. After defeating Ning Chirui, Su Yiyan proudly raised his chin and looked at Luo weeping. If you sincerely want to come to our company, I will call Brother Junxing when I go back and ask him to contact you to discuss the contract. But you have to be mentally prepared. I don't expect you to bring much benefit to my company, but I don't like artists who are disloyal to my company. Moreover, our company's contract year is more stringent. People like you must sign a 10-year contract at one time. Luo Weibing was stunned. He was 24 this year. 10 years later he would be 34. It could be said that he had signed the golden 10 years of his life in this circle. Chapter 378. Su Yiyan glanced at him. What do you think? Do you need some time to think about it? No need. Luo Weibing said without thinking, as long as you can save my sister, I will sign the 10-year contract. That's good. Su Yiyan's eyes lit up slightly. You don't have to worry. I signed you to the company to make money. I won't treat you badly in terms of resources. As for your sister's medical expenses, I will deduct it from your salary. Ning Chirui told you that my treatment of him is an internal employee benefit. You will be an artist of our company after signing the contract. You can also enjoy the internal employee benefits. Luo Weibing was slightly startled and then couldn't help but laugh. I understand. I will talk to Mr. Xia as soon as possible. Okay. Luo Weibing's sister was still in the hospital. Luo Weibing was worried about leaving for too long. After confirming his work with Su Yiyan, he left first. When leaving, Ning Chirui suddenly asked Ning Xiyuan to help send Luo Weibing off. Although Ning Xiyuan was puzzled, he did not say anything and took Luo Weibing downstairs. As soon as the two left, Su Yiyan turned around and asked Ning Chirui, you deliberately sent your brother away. Is there anything you want to say to me? Ning Chirui stiffened and said uncomfortably, what did my parents talk to you about just now? What do you think they talked about with me? Is it related to my brother's illness? You actually know about it? Su Yiyan exclaimed and looked at Ning Chirui with surprise in her eyes. Ning Chirui was irritated by her look. What do you mean I actually know? Am I that stupid? Although his family said that they wanted to see Su Yiyan to thank her in person for saving him, Ning Chirui was not stupid. If it was only his parents, it would be fine. Even his grandfather and the others were dragged over. Obviously, it was not just to thank her in person. After thinking about it, the only possibility was that it was about his brother's illness. Su Yiyan looked at him and joked, no? Ning Chirui's face darkened and turned his face to the side. Su Yiyan laughed. Since you've already guessed it, don't you have anything to say to me? Ning Chirui furrowed his brows and turned his face around again. He carefully probed, then my brother's illness. It can be cured. Ning Chirui's face lit up. Then, I have a condition. Didn't you just mention internal employee benefits? Oh, you mean Luo Weibing? He's a key employee, so he's naturally different from someone like you. What do you mean by, like me? What do I look like? Ning Chirui suddenly became angry. We're both artists in the company. How is he different from me? I'm an old employee. He's here with results. Su Yiyan crossed her arms in front of her chest and clicked her tongue. On the other hand, not only did your performance not stand out, you even dragged us down. How can you compare yourself to others? Ning Chirui, who was struggling to find a job, felt as if a knife had been stabbed in his heart. He was so angry that he could not refute it. Moreover, you've already used this benefit yourself. Now you want to use it a second time. Do you really think our company is a charity? Ning Chirue's little heart was pierced by an arrow again, and his whole person became dispirited. Is there no other way? There is. Ning Chirue suddenly looked up and looked at her with sparkling eyes. Su Yian's lips curled up into an extremely annoying smile. Beg me, Ning Chirue. Childish. Chapter 379. Ning Chirue was stunned for a few seconds and became angry. I'm not joking with you. I'm not joking with you either. Su Yian blinked innocently. Ning Chirue froze. He stared at Su Yian for a while and finally gave in. Avoiding Su Yian's eyes, he whispered, Will you really agree if I beg you? You can try. It depends on my mood. You. Ning Chirue exploded again. The two continued to stare at each other. After a few seconds, Su Yian held back her laughter and said, So, are you begging me or not? If you're not begging, I'm leaving. Su Yian pretended to leave. Ning Chirue was anxious. Wait. Ha. I beg you. Ning Chirue's voice was not much louder than a mosquito. Su Yian's eyes flashed slightly. What? I didn't hear you. Ning Chirue glared at her fiercely. Please cure my brother. Is this okay? Su Yian could not hold back and laughed. You, begging someone is like seeking revenge. So, are you going to save him or not? Let me ask you a question first. After you recover, do you still want to stay in the entertainment industry and continue to be a small star? Ning Chirue was stunned. Just say whether you want to or not. I want to. I'm not a person who gives up halfway. If I say I want to go back in glory. That's fine. You originally signed a 3-year contract, right? You can renew it with Luo Weebing for a few years and make it a 10-year contract. Su Yian had already thought about it. These potential stocks must be secured in advance so that her company could develop as soon as possible. Ning Chirue was not stupid. After a few seconds he quickly reacted and said angrily, Treacherous, childish, bastard, stingy Zhoubapi. Su Yian let him scold him. How did he find this little bastard so amusing in the past? After scolding him for a long time, it didn't hurt or itch and he couldn't think of a new word. After he finished scolding, Su Yian smiled and said, This is a lesson for you. In the future, don't listen to what others say. Otherwise, it's a small matter if you hurt yourself, but it's a big matter if you hurt your family. Ning Chirue's expression changed slightly. He knew that Su Yian was referring to his trust in Wen Jingping and his previous hostility towards her. Thinking about it from another perspective, if he was insinuated by someone for no reason, he would not repay evil with kindness and save the life of the person who instigated him. Fortunately, he had fallen ill right after he finished mocking Su Yian. Otherwise, he would have been brainwashed by Wen Jingping to the point that he believed her without a doubt. He really couldn't be sure what he would have done to Su Yian. That's right, it was brainwashing. Although he was sick during this period, he did pay attention to the storms on the internet. Naturally, he knew how much trouble Wen Jingping had caused after he fell ill. The more he read, the clearer his mind became. When he thought about it, he felt more and more that he had been possessed a few months ago. Why did he have such a good impression of a strange woman so easily? Why did he so easily believe all of her words and completely treat her as a victim? Even the slightest doubt was accompanied by a strong sense of guilt. Especially when he heard Su Yian say this, he couldn't help but feel scared. If he had really listened to Wen Jingping's words and done something substantial to hurt her with righteous indignation, would she still save him? Would she still save his family? You're tuning in to the Sword Dance in the Vast Sky YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.